The Proclamation of the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. The 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain to which Jesus had ordered them. When they saw him, they worshipped, but they doubted. Then Jesus approached and said to them, "All power in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you always until the end of the age." The Gospel of the Lord.
Our Gospel passage for this Ascension Sunday is taken from the ending of the Gospel according to St. Matthew. We have been reflecting on the glorified Jesus as the source of our power to form community and to be missionaries. In the first reading from the Acts of the Apostles, we find Jesus ascending to heaven, returning to the Father, and being glorified. Yet he empowers his disciples to be his witnesses to the ends of the earth. The disciples needed this empowerment from above, for we know who they were: weak, sinful people. But their power is very spiritual, apostolic. The power to testify to Jesus. In the second reading from the letter of Paul to the Ephesians, we see another aspect of the glorification of Jesus. Part of his glory is to become the head of the church, the community, which is his body. And as head, possessing all power, authority, which is above all principalities, he now enables the members of the community to have wisdom, enlightenment, and also the capacity to serve. This is how the risen Lord, the glorified Lord, empowers his community, sharing his authority so that we could be more enlightened, to be more wise, and to be of better service to other people. In the Gospel passage for today, Jesus meets his disciples before he ascends to heaven, before he takes his seat at the right hand of the Father, before he is enthroned and receives from the Father the plenitude of authority. Jesus declares that full authority in heaven and on earth will be given to him. So this simply affirms what we already have heard from the first reading and the second reading. Full authority. This affirms also the equality in Godhead that Jesus now will fully experience. This incarnate Son of God, in his human form but glorified state, will now experience the fullness of divinity, full authority. Now, will he enjoy that authority by himself? You know, we human beings, when we are given a bit of authority, the tendency is to claim it for ourselves, to enjoy it, and even to forget other people. They say power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Will this be the case with Jesus, the risen and glorified one? He will receive absolute power, but will it corrupt him? Absolutely no. Definitely not. For the power that he receives is divine power, and he will utilize it in a divine way. And what are the effects of that divine power shared with us, since we are the members of His body? In the gospel, we see the blending of mission and community. Two themes that we are able to accomplish because we have been empowered by the glorified Lord. Let us look at the elements of mission and community as given to us by Jesus, the one who will be glorified. First of all, He tells them to go and make disciples of all the nations. All the nations. So whereas before, as I had already said, the mission of the disciples was to the lost sheep of Israel, to this very limited community. Now, they are empowered from on high to go to the ends of the earth. Now, they could not do that, but thanks to God's authority and power, they can be missionaries all over the world. So the church that will be formed will come from peoples of different tongues, of different nations, of different cultures, and of different traditions. So the disciples can now, with the power coming from the glorified Lord, go to all the nations. But what will they do? Will they be sent as tourists? No, they are missionaries that will make disciples of all nations. So this is another aspect of their mission. What is a disciple? A disciple is someone who has a living relationship with the Master. So, the mission of these 11 who will be sent is to make Jesus known to other people, to be witnesses to Jesus, and to invite them to develop a relationship with Him, the relationship of a student, a follower, a disciple with a teacher or a master. Now, we know that these 12 disciples, these 11 were weak. They did not fully understand Jesus, but the risen Lord will now empower them to make people see who Jesus truly is. This is followed by a third aspect of mission, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Baptism sacramentally seals discipleship. Through baptism, the faith of a disciple is made permanent, sealed. And this baptism, which unites the disciple to Christ, is done in the name of God, the God who is Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So, we find the birth of a community as the 11 are empowered to make disciples of all nations. Through baptism, the church is born again and again. A new community which becomes a picture of the community of the Father, Son, and Spirit is also generated. What a power! I tell you, I cannot generate that. It must be power from above, power from the risen Lord and glorified Lord. Then Jesus tells them, teach them all that I have commanded you. So, the disciples who used to be timid, who could not speak well, and who even, some of them denied Jesus, now are empowered to teach Jesus and His commandments. All of these are not just missionary acts, but they are also ways to form community. Thanks to the glorified Lord, sinful, weak disciples could be His witnesses, His missioners, and His community called His body. All of this is concluded with the promise, I will be with you till the end of time. The risen and glorified Lord will be present to them, accompanying them, giving them the Holy Spirit, and giving them the power to become one community and witnesses to the gospel. That's why it is important that we celebrate the Ascension, for the glorification of Jesus is also the beginning of our mission and community, but not attributed to our powers, but attributed to the power from on high. You might ask the question, okay, these are all good thoughts and ideas, but are they real? Are they possible? Yes. Let me tell you of a story. I was able to interview a sheriff, a law enforcer, someone who executes the court decisions. I was able to interview him first out of curiosity. How dangerous is the life of a sheriff? And what are the temptations? I know if you're someone empowered to execute the decisions of the judge, you can be proud, you can bully people, especially those who had gone astray, and you can reprimand them. But, this person was quite special. He told me, when I go to a house to render or to execute a judgment of a judge of a court, I think of these criminals as brothers or sisters. As weak as I am, sinners like I am. He said, I start thinking of them that way so that I will not be abusive, so that I would be respectful towards them, even if I know they had committed crimes. And then after rendering the sentence, taking their properties or taking them with me to the court, I pray for them. I pray for them so that they could be healed. I got the shock of my life. I was not expecting that response from a sheriff. But it is true. Why does he use his power that way? I have only one explanation, coming from faith. He has been empowered by the one who first died and who rose from the dead and is now seated at the right hand of the Father, who shares his power, divine power, with this sheriff. The word has been exposed. Let us now fulfill it.